Most people today live in quiet defeat, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack strength of mind. Look around: crowded streets, glowing screens, restless eyes scrolling through endless feeds. We compare, we envy, we crave. We reach for comfort, yet end up exhausted. We avoid discomfort, yet somehow still suffer every single day. Think about it. We've built a world where almost everything is designed for convenience. Food at our fingertips, entertainment at the click of a button, validation in the form of digital hearts and likes. And yet, never have people felt so anxious, so fragile, so unprepared for life's inevitable storms. The paradox of modern living is clear. The softer life becomes, the weaker we grow. Comfort is not saving us, it's slowly destroying us. But the Stoics knew this long before our time. Long before smartphones, long before social media, they understood a truth that echoes louder today than ever before. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is not just a poetic idea. It is a weapon, a shield, a path through chaos. Stoicism doesn't promise you ease. It arms you with resilience. It doesn't remove the struggle. It teaches you how to walk into the storm with clarity and come out unbroken. And that is what this journey is about. In the next 30 minutes, we'll uncover 8 brutal Stoic laws. Laws that demand you level up mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Not fluffy motivation, not background noise. Real principles that can rewire your mind and transform how you live. But first, I want you to reflect. Has comfort made us weaker as humans? Comment below. Your answer might reveal more about your mindset than you realize. We've been taught our whole lives to run from discomfort, to seek comfort, to choose the easy path, to avoid anything that feels hard, painful, or uncertain. But the Stoics knew the opposite is true. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. Every obstacle, every trial, every bruised life gives you is not a punishment, it's training. Think about your own life. When did you grow the most? Was it when things were smooth, predictable, and easy? Or was it when life cornered you? When you were betrayed, when you failed, when you had no choice but to rise or remain broken? The truth is simple. Comfort never forged greatness. Struggle did. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire while facing betrayal, wars, and plagues, wrote these words: "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is your path. That setback at work, that heartbreak, that rejection, it's not there to end you. It's there to shape you. Seneca, another great Stoic, would often practice voluntary discomfort. He would sleep on the floor, eat plain food, and wear rough clothing, not because he hated himself, but because he was training himself. Training to be prepared when life inevitably took comfort away. Because here's the brutal truth. If you spend your life addicted to ease, the moment it's stripped away, you'll break. But if you practice embracing discomfort, when the storm hits, you'll already be forged for it. Modern life whispers to us, avoid pain. Stay comfortable. Stoicism whispers back, train for it. Welcome it. That cold shower when you don't want it. That hard conversation you've been avoiding. That workout when you're tired. That decision to sit in silence instead of numbing yourself with distraction. These are not small things. They are your training ground. They are proof that you can stand in the fire and not be consumed. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your mirror. It shows you who you are when things aren't easy. And more importantly, it reveals who you're becoming. Each time you lean into discomfort, you chip away at weakness and build unshakable strength. So here's your challenge. Choose one small discomfort today. Take the cold shower. Have the honest conversation. Face the boredom instead of running from it. Don't debate it, just do it. Because every time you embrace discomfort, you remind yourself that you are not fragile. You are not here for ease. You are here to become unstoppable. Repeat this with me. Discomfort is my training ground. How often do your emotions dictate the course of your day? Someone insults you, and suddenly your entire mood collapses. Traffic delays you, and you spend the next hour simmering in anger. You feel lazy, so you skip the gym, skip the work, skip the discipline you promised yourself. It's not just you, it's all of us. But here's the brutal truth the Stoics understood. If your emotions own you, you are not free. You are a slave. Epictetus, once a slave himself, knew this better than anyone. He said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. They can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by them." Think about that. Every time you hand your peace over to someone else's words, their actions, their opinions, you've made them your master. That driver who cut you off, you handed them control of your day. That breakup, you gave it your identity. That rude comment online, you let it take your joy. The Stoics weren't emotionless robots. They didn't deny anger, sadness, or fear. They simply refused to be ruled by them. They chose to respond instead of react. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his age, wrote in his private journal, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That's real power. The power to decide whether something deserves your energy or not. And yes, it's brutal, because it means you can't blame others anymore. You can't say, "He made me angry. She ruined my day." You must accept the truth. The reaction was your choice. But here's the empowering part. If it's your choice, you can choose differently. You can feel anger and still refuse to lash out. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel sadness without drowning in it. That is emotional strength. That is freedom. Here's a simple practice. The next time you feel triggered, pause. Breathe. Do nothing for a few moments. Then ask yourself, is this feeling useful right now? If yes, let it guide you. If no, let it go. That small pause separates the child throwing a tantrum from the stoic standing firm in the storm. When you stop being owned by your emotions, you don't just become calmer. You become magnetic. People trust you. They respect you because you are no longer tossed around by every little wave. You are steady. You are grounded. And in a chaotic world, that stability makes you unstoppable. One of the fastest ways to suffer in life is to expect it to be fair. We grow up believing in balance, that effort always equals reward, that good people are always rewarded, that justice will always prevail. But the Stoics knew this is a comforting illusion, not reality. Think about it. You work harder than anyone, but someone less disciplined gets the promotion. You love with your whole heart, but the person you trusted walks away. You do the right thing, yet still, you get punished. And then the thought creeps in, this isn't fair. But here's the brutal Stoic truth. Fairness is not a law of the universe. It's a story we tell ourselves. Marcus Aurelius himself, Emperor of Rome, witnessed injustice daily. Betrayal, corruption, cruelty. And yet, he didn't crumble beneath it. He accepted it as part of the human condition. He reminded himself, life owes us nothing. Seneca put it even more starkly. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Life doesn't guarantee justice. It doesn't guarantee rewards for good behavior. And when you cling too tightly to fairness, you set yourself up for disappointment, anger, and despair. The Stoic approach is radical responsibility, not because everything that happens is your fault, but because it's always your move. You don't control whether life is fair. You control how you respond. You can waste years in bitterness, screaming at the sky about how it should have been. Or you can stand tall, face reality, and say, it wasn't fair, but it will not break me. The average person waits for fairness, waits for recognition, waits for life to treat them kindly. The Stoic trains to stand strong no matter how unfair life becomes. Because unfairness is not weakness, it's training. Every unjust setback is an opportunity to sharpen your patience, to strengthen your resilience, to prove to yourself that your power doesn't come from external validation, but from within. So when life feels unfair, and it will, don't spiral. Don't whine. Don't waste your strength on complaints. Instead, use the pain as fuel. Build skills so undeniable that no unfair system can stop you. Love deeply, but without expecting anything in return. Face betrayal, but walk forward with dignity. Remember this, fairness is not promised, but freedom is always possible. And freedom comes when you stop waiting for life to treat you right and start choosing strength no matter how life treats you. Most people spend their lives drained, not because of what actually happens to them, but because of what they try to control. We waste endless energy worrying about the weather, obsessing over the opinions of others, predicting the future, or replaying the past. And then we wonder why we feel powerless, anxious, and restless. The Stoics offered a brutally simple truth. Your power exists only in one small, sacred space, what you can control. Everything else must be released. Epictetus said it best. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. So what exactly falls inside your control? Your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your responses. That's it. Everything else, the outcome, the timing, the opinions of strangers, the economy, chance, uncertainty, that is not yours to command. And if you try to command it, you will drown in frustration. Imagine you are at sea in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the waves crash, the sky splits with lightning. The average person screams at the storm, demanding it stop. The Stoic does something different. He grips the wheel, adjusts the sails, and steers with calm precision. He does not waste energy on what he cannot control. He masters what he can. This mindset changes everything. You cannot control whether people like you, but you can control how you treat them. You cannot control whether your business succeeds, but you can control your work ethic, your discipline, and your preparation. You cannot control death, disease, or disaster, but you can control how you face them. And that makes all the difference. Here's a simple practice. The next time you feel stressed, stop and ask yourself one question. Is this within my control? If yes, act with courage. If no, release it. This isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's the refusal to waste your life on things that were never yours to hold. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the kind of power no one can take away. When you focus only on what you can control, you become unshakable. Not because the world bends to your will, but because no matter what the world throws at you, you remain steady, disciplined, and free. We live in a world addicted to comfort. The bed is soft, the food is rich, entertainment is endless, convenience is everywhere. And because of that, most people crumble the moment life takes those comforts away. But the Stoics believe the opposite. Discipline is a superpower. And the way you build it is by practicing hardship, by choosing discomfort before life forces it on you. Seneca, one of the wisest Stoic philosophers, had a powerful practice. He would deliberately sleep on the floor. He would eat the plainest of meals. He would wear rough, uncomfortable clothes. Not because he was punishing himself, but because he was training himself. He would ask, is this the condition I feared? And every time he did, he realized that even the worst discomforts weren't as terrifying as his mind had made them. This is the heart of voluntary hardship. You don't wait for crisis to test you. You test yourself daily. You fast, so you remember that hunger won't kill you. You take a cold shower, so you remember you can endure discomfort. You train early in the morning, so you remember that fatigue doesn't define you. You say no to luxuries you can afford, so you remember you're not owned by desire. Because here's the truth. Comfort never made anyone unbreakable. Challenge did. Voluntary hardship is not self-punishment. It is self-preparation. It is sharpening your willpower so that when real hardship comes, you don't collapse, you rise. Marcus Aurelius ruled during wars, plagues, and betrayals. Yet he wrote with calm, with clarity, with dignity. Why? Because hardship was not a surprise to him. He expected it. He trained for it. He didn't pray for an easier life. He prepared for a harder one. And that's the shift most people never make. They spend their lives asking, how can I make life easier? The Stoic asks instead, how can I make myself stronger? So here is your challenge. Choose one hardship on purpose this week. Skip a meal. Sleep on the floor. Walk instead of drive. Take the stairs. Push your body. Stretch your will. And when your mind screams for comfort, smile and keep going. Because each act of chosen discomfort is not weakness, it is armor. And when life finally throws its storms at you, and it will, you'll stand firm. Not because you escaped hardship, but because you trained for it. From the time we're young, we're taught to obsess over results. Get the grade, win the trophy, land the job, earn the money, be admired. And when those results don't come quickly, or when they don't come at all, we break. We feel worthless. We quit. But the Stoics flipped the script. They understood something most people never grasp. The outcome is never guaranteed. But the process, the work, that's always yours. That's where your freedom lies. Epictetus put it clearly. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. And what lies beyond our control? The outcome. You can write a brilliant book and no one reads it. You can train for years and still lose the match. You can give someone your whole heart and they can still walk away. If your identity is tied to the result, you will collapse. But if your identity is tied to the process, you become unstoppable. Because no matter the outcome, you win. If you're a writer, you write not for applause, but for mastery. If you're an athlete, you train not just for medals, but for discipline. If you're building something, you build not for recognition, but because creating sharpens your soul. Here's the irony. The moment you let go of needing results, you often achieve more. Why? Because you're not desperate. You're not crushed by failure or paralyzed by fear. You're free to act with clarity, to keep showing up, to keep building day after day. And that consistency eventually brings results. But by then, the results are just a bonus. Marcus Aurelius warned against obsessing about the future. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Translation: stop wasting your strength worrying about what might happen. Use your strength to master what you can do today. So here's your practice. Detach from outcomes. Fall in love with the craft, not the reward. Show up as if the result is already done, and your only task is to enjoy the process. Because in the end, results fade. Applause fades. But the person you become through discipline, through persistence, through steady work, that never fades. Detach from outcomes, and you'll discover the rarest form of freedom, the power to keep moving forward no matter what. Most people live as if they will live forever. They waste time, delay their dreams, stay in toxic relationships, and scroll their lives away. They say, "I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll change when the timing is right." But the timing is never right, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. The Stoics understood this. They practiced a meditation called memento mori, remember you will die. Not to be dark, not to be morbid, but to wake up. To remind themselves that every moment could be the last, and that the only true tragedy is a wasted life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Imagine living with that awareness, not with fear, but with urgency. Because when you accept death, you stop wasting life. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And that's the brutal truth. It's not time that we lack, it's attention, it's presence. We don't lose life all at once. We lose it in small pieces, stolen by distraction, procrastination, and regret. The Stoics didn't run from this truth. They stared death in the face and let it sharpen them. When you remember that your time is limited, you stop postponing the things that matter. You stop saying someday and start saying today. You forgive faster. You love more deeply. You create with urgency. You let go of petty arguments, wasted hours, and shallow pursuits. Because death is not the enemy, it is the greatest teacher. It reminds us that life is not something to be hoarded, but something to be lived fully right now. The risk you've been avoiding, the change you've been delaying, the words you've been holding back, they belong to today, not tomorrow. This awareness doesn't make you anxious. It makes you alive. The person who remembers death speaks with truth, works with urgency, and lives with purpose. They stop chasing cheap validation because they know the ultimate failure is not rejection. It's wasting the short time they've been given. So here is your practice. Each morning, whisper to yourself, "I could leave life today," and then live as if that were true. Not recklessly, but intentionally. Because the clock is ticking, and the question is not how long you will live, but how deeply. Most people live for the crowd. They chase likes, praise, applause, and recognition. They measure their worth by how loudly the world claps for them. But the Stoics taught a higher path. Do not live for approval, live for virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." And that single line contains a lifetime of strength. Live with honor, even when no one notices. Speak the truth, even if no one applauds. Keep your word, even when it costs you. Train hard, even when nobody's watching. That is what it means to be a warrior for virtue. The world will tempt you to take shortcuts, to lie when it's easier, to pretend when it's profitable, to perform when it gets you attention. But every time you choose approval over virtue, you weaken yourself. You make yourself dependent on the crowd. And what the crowd gives, the crowd can take away. But when you build your life on virtue, on integrity, courage, honesty, discipline, you become unshakable. because no one can strip that away from you. Seneca said, "I will govern my life and thoughts as if the whole world were to see the one and read the other." That is real power. To live in such a way that you don't need to hide, don't need to fake, don't need to beg for validation. Here's the hard truth. Doing the right thing is often the hard thing. It's easier to impress than to be authentic. Easier to win attention than to earn respect. Easier to bend than to stand alone. But every time you choose what's right over what's easy, you sharpen your soul. You become someone your future self can admire. And the paradox is this. The moment you stop living for applause, you often gain more respect than you ever imagined. People trust those who don't beg for approval. They follow those who stand firm in principle, even if they walk alone. So here is your challenge. From this day forward, live for virtue. Not the crowd, not the algorithm, not the applause. Because applause fades, followers vanish, status comes and goes. But the strength of your character, that is forever. Be the warrior for what is right, not what is popular. Even if no one sees, even if no one claps, walk with integrity. Because the moment you stop needing the crowd, you become the kind of person they follow anyway. You've now heard the 8 brutal Stoic laws, laws forged in ancient times, but still cutting sharper than ever in our modern world. Embrace discomfort. Master your emotions. Stop expecting fairness. Focus only on what you can control. Train through voluntary hardship. Detach from outcomes. Live with urgency. And walk with virtue. This is not theory. This is training. Each law is a weapon you can carry into the battles of your own life. And the more you practice them, the more unshakable you become. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they didn't write to inspire comfort. They wrote to forge resilience. And if you choose this path, if you live by these laws, you'll discover a rare strength. The power to walk through chaos with calm, to face storms with dignity, to live with meaning even when the world crumbles around you. So take this with you. I am becoming unshakable day by day. Write it, speak it, live it. If this message struck something deep in you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment your favorite law below. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And join this community of thinkers and warriors. Subscribe, and let's keep walking this path together. Because life is short, the clock is ticking, and the Stoic path is not about waiting for a better world. It's about becoming stronger right now.